All right, let's talk about the Second Amendment. Um, I'm going to read a little bit for you here. Um, this is the exact definition. Before I get into that, let me go into some misconceptions. Um, people say a lot of people say that the Second Amendment is a guaranteed right by the Constitution. That's kind of vague. It's actually ratified in the Bill of Rights. That's why it's an amendment to the Constitution. In the original Constitution, there was no Second Amendment, or it wouldn't be an amendment. So, Second Amendment is Bill of Rights. Um, let's go into what exactly that Second Amendment is, and I'm going to read that for you here. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay, so a lot of those who are anti-gun believe that the first part of this, a well-regulated militia, only applies to like law enforcement or military. Okay, that is not true. Back when the Constitution and the Bill of Rights was written, there was not a standing army, there was no Marine Corps, there wasn't a Navy. The the armed forces of the United States was the militia. And who did that militia consist of? It consisted of everyday people like you and me who decided to fight for their government against an oppressive government. So on to the next part, being necessary to the security of a free state. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. You have to be able to defend your borders. You have to be able to defend your property, your life, your loved one, and these are God-given rights. These are not rights that are bestowed upon by a government entity. These are God-given rights to self-preservation. Okay. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Who are the people? We are the people. We, the citizens of the United States of America, we are the people that they are defining in that sentence. And if you'll remember, there was a time when our government was by the people and for the people. And unfortunately, it doesn't quite seem that way anymore. It seems like the government is for themselves. Um, there's a lot of stuff going on with major corporations like Walmart. Recently Walmart has come out and said that they're going to stop selling handgun ammunition. They're only going to sell uh, ammunition for hunting and stuff. And they've also, I don't know if they're simply asking people not to open carry in their store, or actually going so far as to trespass people that are open carrying in their store. Now that is the most retarded virtue signaling thing I have ever heard from a company since Target allowed transgenders to use whichever bathroom they prefer. And by the way, Target lost their ass on that decision, because the boycott that ensued from Christians like myself, who don't want our little girls being exposed to possible pedophiles who identify as transgenders. And I'm not saying all transgenders are pedophiles. What I'm saying is there are some who will abuse that right to use whichever bathroom they choose. There are some who will abuse that to do nefarious things with little girls. So Target has lost their ass on that decision, and the same thing's going to happen with Walmart. I used to buy all my ammo, all my Target ammo at Walmart. Excuse me just for a second. And I bought it there because it was cheap. Walmart did have really good prices on decent FMJs. Their Winchester white box. Heck, I bought a 555 rounds of 22 ammo for under $20. And that'll keep my son shooting for days. Anyways, they had really good prices on ammo, and that's why I chose to shop there. And usually when I'd shop there, I would end up buying more than I planned to buy. If I just went in for ammo, I'd browse around, and I'd usually end up spending probably at least a good $100 there. I used to buy video games there. I used to buy clothing, socks, and underwear, all that stuff. But you know what? They've lost all my business because of that decision. I won't buy anything. I won't even step into a Walmart anymore unless this policy changes. And they want to make it seem like they're doing something to stop these mass shootings. This isn't going to stop shit. It's not going to slow shit down. If a madman wants to go on a killing spree, he's gonna find a way. This isn't gonna do shit. The only thing that this affects is common, everyday, law-abiding citizens such as you and I. And I think it was a really stupid decision by Walmart. But I'm kind of getting off track here because that business is right to decide to choose what they sell, who they have in their store, and such. And I want to go into the legal ramifications of this a little bit, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's my right, it's my right. Yes, you do have the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. However, on private property such as Walmart, that business can decide for themselves whether you can or can't. Now, here's where it gets kind of iffy. In Arizona, in order for this to be an effective law, they have to post clearly at the entrance a sign with the Arizona Revised Statute number that coincides with the no firearms allowed. That has to be clearly posted. Now, they also have to provide a lockbox. A lot of people don't know this. Even if they have that sign in the door, a lockbox for your firearm must be provided by the store or the private property that you're entering. Now, if they do not have the signage and they do not provide a lockbox, law enforcement cannot enforce that law. But what the property can do, the private property can do, is trespass. And that's what a lot of them do. Since they can't get you on a gun charge or the Arizona Revised Statute number, they get you on a trespass. And basically is what that does is the cops come out, they issue you a trespass notice, you sign an agreement stating that you are aware that you are no longer welcome at any Walmart store, and if you do happen to go into another Walmart or that same one, whether you're carrying or not, then you are subject to arrest for trespassing, which is really minor. I'm sure it's a misdemeanor, probably even civil, not criminal. Anyways, they don't really have a leg to stand on. And I don't think that Walmart has said anything about concealed carry, but I highly recommend, even if you are a concealed carrier, boycott Walmart. If they're going to virtue signal like this, don't give them your business. I for one sure won't. So back to our original Second Amendment. Um, when the founding fathers wrote the Constitution and amended the Constitution with the Bill of Rights in 1791, um, they didn't just finish having tea with the British. They just got done overthrowing an oppressive government, and it was the people. It was we, the people, who did that. We didn't have an army like we do now. We didn't have the Marine Corps. We didn't have the Navy. We didn't have the Air Force. We didn't have the Coast Guard. We didn't have any of that. It was basically Minutemen, men who at any moment could answer the call and go and fight to defend their country. And believe it or not, there's still thousands of us out there, hundreds of thousands. Um, and back to the other thing. I read something in there about the well-regulated militia thing. And see, this is where I think that the people who are anti-AR-15 don't have a leg to stand on, because a well-regulated militia, to me, that means they have to have firepower to keep an oppressive government in line, or to overthrow that tyrannical government. So pay attention here, because if the government ever tries to institute another one of these so-called assault weapons bans like Clinton did back in the, what was it, 90s, mid-90s, somewhere around there, if they ever try to do that again, that's when we need to step up, because once they seize those, because they've already proven that assault weapons ban did nothing to slow down crime. It was completely ineffective. All it did was kept good people like you and I from owning those type of weapons, AR-15s, and only the criminals and law enforcement had it. And I want to back up there for a minute to go to the whole Walmart thing again, because now that they've made it clear that they don't want civilians with firearms and law-abiding citizens with firearms in their store, that means the only person in that store when a mass shooting that goes down is more than likely going to be the madman trying to kill you. Now, for you left-wing liberal Democrats who want to push this anti-gun agenda, and you happen to be in Walmart when that goes on, just go ahead and you guys can hit them with your purse. Because we're not going to be there to save your asses. We're boycotting that shit. We don't want nothing to do with Walmart. So yeah, just put your soy milk down. Go run up on that madman with your purse and hit him with that. I'm sure you beta boys will be okay. Excuse me for a minute. So try to get back on point here with the Second Amendment thing. I'm kind of rambling on here about it. I wanted to bring up a few more points here if I can find it again. I'm going through my phone because I don't have everything memorized, of course. But I did see an interesting article in here. Let me see if I can find it again. Oh, back to back to the other part of the shall not be infringed. All these other like the Federal Firearms Act, you know, that's an infringement. And you know, we hear all this crap about compromise. Well, compromise means you give up something and you get something in return. That's what a compromise to me is. And ever since the Federal Firearms Act, we've been giving and giving and giving, and we haven't been getting anything in return. Okay. Um, so when they talk about compromise, there is no room for compromise. Shall not be infringed is very clearly written in the Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights. Not finding that article that I wanted to, but it was very interesting because it was an actual case from, I believe, 1898 or something like that. Um, and it basically went into trying to find the right wording, but basically, the way I understood it, if the government can have it, the civilians should have it. The citizens should be able to have it. There should be no restriction other than, of course, financial. Now, of course, in this day and age, you know, when we've got M1A1 Abrams tanks out there and shit, there aren't too many people that can afford one of those. But you know what? If you have the money and you want to buy that, you should be able to legally do so, because that's what the Second Amendment means to me. Um, we should be able, we the people, should be able to have legal access to whatever weaponry the federal government has to keep them in line. I'm not saying we have to use any of that. I'm not saying that anybody should go out and buy an M1A1 Abrams tank and drive it into a federal building or anything. I'm just saying that we, the people, under the Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights, should have that right. If you can afford it, and you're not a felon, you're not mentally ill, you should be able to own any firearm that, you know, even if it's fully automatic, doesn't matter. I think, you know, if you're a law-abiding citizen, not a felon, not mentally ill, and the whole background checks thing. Okay, there's already federal background checks in place. The only time that you don't have to do a federal background check when purchasing a firearm is when it's private person-to-person sale. And even then, a responsible gun owner such as myself, I'll be honest, I've only sold one firearm private person to person. Of course, that was that M&P 2.0 that I ranted on about a couple of videos back. But when I sold that firearm to this individual, I checked his driver's license to make sure that that was the person I was selling it to. I made sure that he had a current valid CCW permit, which tells me that he's already gone through a federal background check and is legally able to purchase a firearm. I didn't write any of this information down because there's no reason to. All I had to do was make sure that I was selling it to the person who was being represented as the CCW permit holder, and that way I could rest comfortably knowing that I was selling it to a legal private citizen who can legally own a firearm. Anyways, this video is getting kind of long and winded. I've already gone farther than I wanted to go, so I'm going to end it here. Uh, just want to want to say thank you all for watching, and please give us a like and subscribe. And get ready for when it goes down, because it's probably going to happen within our lifetime.